The 14th Dzogchen master Longchen said something like that. He feels that he's this old grandfather who sees the affairs of the world is like antic of a child. What he means by that is he finds a sense of humor in everything. Maybe also he is saying that as people we take things so seriously, whereas everything we do is like little bit the antic child or the play of a child. That does not mean everything we do have no meaning. Yes, we do things have a great meaning. We also have to take things sometimes with a caring and sense of responsibility. But I think huge part of our life, everything we do is like a little bit of play of a child, except if you don't know that. If you realize that, perhaps it will be much freer inside, and we don't have this kind of heaviness that we're always carrying. Do you feel there's this heaviness in our heart and coming from really perceiving everything so real, and of course everything is real, but we have this kind of quite limiting lens of a mindset. We might like to call it dualism, where we divided the whole life into this compartmentalization of right and wrong, good and bad. When we even look at situations in our life, there's a favorable situation, there's an unfavorable situation. There's no between that, there's no gray. So our mind interprets everything that is happening to us, either favorable or unfavorable. We like when we believe that the favorable things are happening to me. The nice email arrived who praised my hairstyle, or whatever, food is served on time, or weather's good, then our ego can be really happy. Whereas when our mind perceives what is happening is unfavorable, and then we become totally unhappy for no particular reason. But all this really has to do with not so much nature reality, but just the way this limiting mind, this dualistic mind interprets. This dualistic mind really doesn't capture the nature reality. Therefore, the purpose of all the spiritual practice in many ancient sacred traditions is to bring about this awakening, what they call awakening to the dharmata, which is Sanskrit word, means nature reality. Nature reality that transcend all these divisions and all these categories of the favorable and unfavorable situations in the realm of that a more absolute or transcendence. I do not mean transcendence, some kind of very wishy-washy or woo phenomenon. I mean transcendence means like the reality that what it is, that is not interpreted through lens of our limiting mind. And it's not so much that there's no right, wrong in the nature reality, but if we can be awakened to that nature reality as it is, then maybe that kind of heaviness we have in our heart will go away, and we'll experience perhaps a more sense of ease and carefree. I think carefree is a really wonderful thing to experience. Carefree, we don't know how to experience that sometimes, to be carefree. Carefree in this context is a state of mind. It's not like literally we become carefree, don't care what is happening in our life, don't care whether what is happening in the world, we should care. But carefree means that we are not so much really fundamentally lost about hopes and fears, expectations, but the kind we are dancing almost each moment with the rhythm of life and being okay with everything, kind of following the bliss. And there are ways we can learn to be carefree and to bring the lightness of the heart, regardless of what situation unfolding before us. First, we kind of have to understand that we're not really in control of anything. In ultimate sense, we do have influence. No doubt we can do things, we can make certain choices, intention to influence the course of life in the future. But ultimately, we are not really the cosmic agent, we are not really the creator of a universe, of course, but we are not even creator of our own life either. We are not in charge over what is going to happen or not. We even actually don't have absolute control of what is going to happen to us this evening. Regardless of, we can make all kind of effortful preparations to make sure that everything will happen in accordance with our desires, fantasies, wantings, with very little influence. But we don't know that. We have this collective delusion that we should be, or we are, the one who called the shot in the grand scheme of all things, at least for our own life, our fate and destiny. I think once we realize that we are not really that cosmic agent or the decider or the omnipresent creator of our own existence, instead we are kind of not really even separate self. We are kind of part of this amazing river, divine river of life that is kind of flowing on its own through just a myriad of causes and conditions. And there's a kind of lightness. We don't take things personally. Good things happens. We don't take personally. We don't think, oh, I'm really good and I'm going to take pride in that because all these good things are happening to me. Or we don't take personally, we don't feel bad, or we don't feel I'm the most unfortunate person, or I don't deserve this. When bad things happens, we just see the whole thing is just a part of this life that is much bigger than our personal self. So if we can step away from that box of a personal self, which is an idea, which is really in concept that we developed at some point, which wasn't there in the primordial level of consciousness, and then maybe we don't take things too personally. We can feel more carefree everyday life, and then life will be much more enjoyable and fun to live.